I was 26 years old when this incident happened. One day, I was taking a walk with my dog Molly. After walking 2 more blocks, we saw 3 men smoking on the porch and talking to each other. 2 of them didn't pay attention to me, but one was staring in my direction. He was a bit bigger compared to the other 2 guys. He looked like he was in his 20s and was also bald. I quickly looked the other direction, but then he yelled at me from behind. "Hey gorgeous, nice puppy you got. Come over here and let me pet her." Then I heard laughter coming from the other 2 men, so I ignored them and rushed over to my house. At first, I didn't tell my parents anything, thinking that it wasn't that serious, but I was wrong. The day after, I walked my dog as usual, but because I was feeling a little bit scared, I took pepper spray with me. I walked past the same house hoping not to see that weird man, but he was there again. He was sitting on a rocking chair on the porch, and when he saw me, he shot up from his seat. In fear, I picked up Molly and bolted down the sidewalk trying to get away from him. But to my horror, he was chasing after me. He pushed me to the ground, making me fall onto the hard concrete floor and dropping Molly. I started screaming for help, for anybody to hear me, but he covered my mouth. Clawing at his hands, I realized that I had the pepper spray in my pocket. So I grabbed it and sprayed it in his eyes, and after a while, he eventually screamed out in pain and rolled off my body. I quickly got up and picked up Molly. When I got home, of course, I frantically explained the situation to my parents. My dad, who was a retired Marine, wanted to go to that house, but Mom just told us to go to the police station. I told an officer what happened and showed him my injury, but they didn't really help me. A couple of months later, I started working at a 7-Eleven. One day, I was walking home after my night shift, and when I turned the corner, I noticed a truck driving slowly and way too close to the sidewalk. I didn't pay any attention at first, but when I was standing in front of my front door, I looked behind me and saw the same car. 2 men were in the truck, and I could see that they were watching me. I told my parents again, and because of this, my dad was on the lookout in front of the house for a few weeks. Nothing really happened until that night. That night traumatized me, and the guilt still chokes me to this day. It was about 2 a.m. when Molly started barking at something out the window. Being too tired, I just shrugged it off and drifted back to sleep, until I woke up to the sound of Molly yelping in pain. I opened my eyes and saw my dog's lifeless body on the floor covered in blood and a dark figure over her. It was him. "Do you think you could get away from me? No, you were wrong." He climbed over me and started punching my face. With my blurred vision, I kept on kicking and hitting the man, but he didn't even flinch. And next, I heard him struggling to get his belt off. Pure terror swept over my body. I let out a scream before he could cover my mouth. All of a sudden, the door swung open. My dad held his gun in his hand, and my mom was behind him. As soon as Dad saw the man, he shot him twice. The man screamed in agony, and I pushed him off of my body. Dad grabbed him and started beating him, showing no mercy, and Mom called the police. I then ran to Molly, but she'd already passed away. About 5 minutes later, the police arrived, and they arrested him. It turns out that it was not only that man, but also his other 2 friends who conspired this. Their plan was to break into our house, kidnap me, and rape me. Fortunately, they were caught and sentenced to 16 years in prison for multiple charges. Until now, I still live with my parents because of the fear of being alone. And I feel sorry for Molly. I really miss her. I miss her so much.